When does a dynasty stop being a dynasty and start becoming a legacy fund coasting entirely on nostalgia? We are witnessing the unthinkable. The New York Yankees, the very definition of baseball supremacy, are being openly mocked by influential analysts, not merely for their win-loss record, but for their palpable lack of competitive fire. Forcing us to ask, can you truly buy a championship ring if the soul of the organization has already been fundamentally compromised?
Welcome to 603 Snap News, where we dive past the box score and dissect the raw cultural energy, or lack thereof, that separates the perennial contenders from the merely comfortable institutions. The recent brutal assessment from Yankees Go Yard isn't just surface-level criticism, it's a structural indictment, highlighting the yawning chasm in competitive hunger between the Bronx Bombers and the relentless juggernaut that is the Los Angeles Dodgers.
For many, the failure is easily distilled to pitching. If only the Yankees had landed a top arm like Snell or secured Yamamoto, the narrative would flip. But I assure you that is a facile distraction. The difference we are discussing today is the invisible statistic, the organizational DNA, and it is most brutally visible in the actions of the team's young stars. Let's start with Anthony Volpe, the supposed face of the future.
His specific struggles in a critical recent series, 11 strikeouts across 15 at-bats, are alarming enough on paper, but as the analyst pointed out, it's the lack of emotional response that is chilling. The statistician in me, let's call him Gary, insists on hard data. Volpe's strikeout rate soared to 73% in that series, a figure usually reserved for pitchers swinging for the fences. The numbers are indefensible. But the true critique goes deeper.
The sight of him returning to the dugout after yet another embarrassing whiff, devoid of visible frustration or fury, suggests something fundamental is missing. Gary continues, "I see a 22-year-old with prodigious talent, but he lacks the instinctual rage, the profound disgust with failure that figures like Paul O'Neill or even a young Derek Jeter carried back to the bench. That silence isn't composure, it's complacency."
Now, let's address the immediate counterargument, the roster depth myth. If the Yankees fail, fans often blame the supporting cast. But Dr. Kim, our organizational strategist, argues this is precisely where the cultural gap is most evident. Look at the Dodgers, she insists. When they faced a personnel crisis, they didn't crumble. They had role players, the utility specialists like Rojas or Kike Hernandez, who executed immediate, flawless defensive recoveries when a star messed up. That level of spontaneous, collective synergy, that cleanup crew mentality, isn't just talent depth, it's institutionalized effort. Dodgers president Andrew Friedman wasn't exaggerating when he said the team's success comes from a strong shared will for winning that has been cultivated until it's treated as an absolute baseline, as routine. When the Yankees make an error, it often looks fatal because the collective fabric feels thin, the failure echoes. When the Dodgers err, the mistake is instantly absorbed and neutralized by an ingrained culture of accountability. This leads us to the heart of the matter. Leadership and the investment in culture. We are not just talking about money, we are talking about passion capital. Professor Sato, our cultural critic, draws the parallel perfectly. The ghosts of Yankees past, the O'Neills, the Riveras, they demanded passion. They lived the ethos that only winning mattered. Contrast the Yankees' current tepid response with the sheer, unadulterated gravitational pull of a generational talent like Shohei Ohtani in Los Angeles. Ohtani is not just a player, he is a force of nature whose very presence shifts the organizational center of gravity. He is, as the Japanese analysts describe, a lump of desire. This relentless, visible pursuit of perfection sets the standard for every player, forcing them to match his internal frequency. When a star treats preparation like a religious rite, the entire organization benefits from that intensity. This is what Professor Sato calls grit investment. The Dodgers players have its standard issue. The Yankees treat it like an optional upgrade. Many cite the difficulty of the American League, but frankly, the National League West includes the metaphorical bonus stage of playing the Rockies in Colorado, which artificially inflates hitting stats and eases pitching pressure.
The difference isn't geography, it's tenacity. When the chips are down, when a critical injury hits, where does the recovery effort come from? We saw it last season. When key leaders struggled, someone unexpected, a pitcher like Yamamoto or a relief ace, stepped up for high-leverage innings, demonstrating an innate, deep-seated sense of responsibility. This deep roster capability is not accidental. It is the physical manifestation of the organizational will that Friedman has cultivated.
The Yankees, however, seem to possess a strange corporate detachment. They have the assets, the brand, and the payroll, but the connection between the uniform and the soul feels thin. Where is the visceral joy, the Matsui home plate jump intensity that defined past successes? It's gone. The ultimate plot twist here is recognizing that the Yankees are not suffering from a lack of talent. They are suffering from an excess of security. They have been so focused on maintaining the image of a dynasty that they forgot the relentless, exhausting work required to sustain it. The invisible statistic defining their downfall is the Win Commitment Index, the WCI. The Dodgers' WCI is 100%. Winning is oxygen. The Yankees' WCI, judging by the apathy displayed by some of their key players returning to the bench, seems to hover around 75%. Enough to compete, but not enough to dominate. They are cursed, yes, but they cursed themselves by choosing comfort over commitment, allowing regional expectations to swallow their hunger. The path back to being the true evil empire hinges entirely on whether they can stop treating their history as a shield and start treating their failures as fuel. Do you agree that the Yankees' issues are more cultural than roster-based, or do you believe they just need one more ace to fix everything? Let us know in the comments below, and please take a moment to like this video, share it with your fellow baseball fanatics, and subscribe to 603 Snap News for more unfiltered, passionate analysis.